Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here tonight, Thursday night. Signature Moves presents Mr. Stevie Richards. Sir, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, doing good. Dan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Very basic answers. That's fine. We can get right to
the
it.
most enthusiastic guy ever, Stevie, I tell you.
What's that?
You need some motivation, does Dan?
Oh, he needs motivation?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, well, motivation to do what? I don't know what I can motivate anybody to do.
Anything that can help him.
How would I motivate Dan to start the signing? How's that? We can motivate him. Start small.
There you go. Okay, right, and guys, if you've already pre-ordered from the pre-sale, guys, please let us get them done first. If you do want to buy a photograph signed by Stevie himself later on in the show, you can do. We'll be running till 8 o'clock UK time, 3 o'clock American time. All right, guys, so we will be on for about 50 minutes. If you do have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. So the first one we're going to start with, Stevie, is the BWO print, if that's okay.
Okay, is that the BWO group print or the single
one?
Where
the group print.
Okay, I got that.
Yourself,
okay.
and Nova.
Not a problem. Of course, it's on the bottom. There we go. It was the first one. Here we go. This is the BWO group print right there. Meanie's already signed it, and all you got to do is track Nova down somewhere in the hills of Kentucky, and he can sign the third one. He hides even better than I do.
Oh, I tell you, trying to get a hold of him is, it's like a needle in a haystack. So,
is this for anybody in particular, or are we starting?
So all of them would just like your autograph and then BWO for life on all of them. That is it. It's the simplest one.
Meanie already put. See, I don't believe in BWO for life. I believe in BWO maybe until 2025. So I'm not a full believer in life yet. I'll let Meanie if I can just sign Big Stevie Cole. I'm 52 years old. 6 things is, we're getting a little crazy here, guys. I'm being half sarcastic about that. I do. I mean, if BWO right now, what has it been? November 1996. So it's been almost, wow, 30 years in 2026, man. It's crazy. Yeah. So I guess at this point it is BWO for life. What do you guys think? There's another one signed. So
did you ever think that people would be talking about the BWO 30 or almost 30 years from now? From like 96?
Did I ever think anybody would?
Yeah.
No, I thought on the next day. I thought by December 96 they would have forgotten it. But it's one of those things. We did tons and tons of parodies. Any one of those could have stuck for a while. I mean, and a couple of them did. The Blue Dust and Baron Von Stevie was like a month or two. What else? The Fabulous Ones and a couple other things. But then the BWO, we thought it was just going to be another night. But November to Remember 96 might have been a great launching pad for it, because that was our WrestleMania or Starrcade back then, before there was the actual pay-per-view in April of 97. So, yeah, I mean, all that stuff was like a perfect storm to have it take off. To where people usually say, man, what would happen if the BWO and the NWO got in the ring together? And I'm going to tell everybody right now, I would probably do 95% of the work. I would get my ass handed to me by 3 of the members, and Meanie and Nova would never tag in, but still collect 1/3 of the money. So they're much better workers than me. If you want a little glimpse of that, you can just see Kevin Nash versus Dr. Stevie and TNA, and that'll give you an idea of what that match will look like.
Yeah, if Nash is in charge of booking it.
He wasn't in charge of booking that. That was just reality based. So
was it?
I actually, funny story, I wrestled Kevin Nash in Wisconsin for my buddy Julian Bradley. He was running the show for Freedom Pro Wrestling. And for some reason, we got the WrestleMania 3 ring, which was as hard as this desk. And Nash was supposed to give me the jackknife. And he just basically said we stepped in the ring. Both of our knees were hurting just from standing in the ring.
Walking.
He ended up just giving me the big boot for the finish. Thank God. Jeez. It still knocked me out anyway. So The ring was the hardest ring I ever wrestled in. I mean, that thing was built for Hogan and Andre. So
yeah, reinforced. I get it. Starting with the BWO then, just a quick one. Was it always going to be you, Meanie, and Nova, or was there ever any conversation that may have introduced others?
Oh, we had 7-Eleven. We had the guy who did the camcorder stuff. We had Rodman for a short time, little ancillary things just like the BW or the NWO had kind of their offshoot characters. But no, I mean, and I don't know how far it would have went. Obviously, I went to WCW kind of just after the height where it looked like it was going to maybe jump the shark. So I don't know how far we would have went, or if we would have turned heel, or there was no plan. There was really no plan beyond, I guess, I would say barely legal. And then the matches with Funk and myself, by the way, rest in peace, Terry. I did a video on my YouTube channel giving him a tribute. He's definitely probably one of the most underappreciated talents in wrestling history. But I don't think outside of, I guess, the lead, there's always long-term storyline telling in the ECW, but never long-term booking, because the guys were always leaving, people got hurt, people were coming in. So they kind of had a fluid timeline. And that's why in ECW, if you guys noticed, we were always working with 3 or 4 sets of different people and different storylines. That was built to protect in case even 75% of the talent went to WWE or WCW, we still had intact storylines with characters that made sense.
No, thank you for that. Big Dan, we're going to do a couple of questions, please, if that's okay.
So we have a video question, so I'll just play that now for you.
Sure.
Stevie, I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for signing all my stuff. I just wanted to ask a question today on this live. Whose idea was it with the right to censor gimmick? What were your thoughts on it at the time, getting it pitched to you? And what was your favorite memories of being in the right to censor gimmick with Ivory, Goodfather, Bull Buchanan, and of course Val Venus? It was great. Thanks again, man.
Very cool question. I didn't get the name on that.
That was Ollie.
Ollie. Thank you, Ollie. Great question. The right to censor was purely a Vince McMahon idea initially. It pivoted. It was supposed to be just the normal, another parody. That's been the story of my life. It was a parody of the Parent Television Council because they were taking sponsorship money, sponsors away from WWE because they had Val Venus, Godfather, all that stuff. So they were trying to tone down the product. Also, I think it was unofficial, but the Crash TV was really hurting a lot of talent. It was really getting to be a lot of injuries from the violence. So they needed an act that would take that away and take all the heat off the company. So Vince, they just picked me, I guess, because I wasn't doing anything. They had no idea if I could really cut promos or do any of that stuff. But then 3 to 4 weeks in there, one of the writers, Jacob Israel, who also has a YouTube channel up here, and I still talk to him to this day, he and I morphed it, and more him than me, but I kind of pitched some stuff here and there, more of a cult, more of a, Branch Davidian type thing, more of Charles Manson and the family members type thing. And you could see that shift. At first, it was just no fun, no fun, no fun. Then it was like, wow, they're acting like a cult. And I had to study a lot of cult stuff, watch documentaries, figured it out. And thank God that Vince didn't really have hands-on after that month. I think he got bored with it. So we had the freedom to really make it explode. And then obviously taking characters out of the Attitude Era and putting them in the right to censor was also something that, people to this day say they hate that we did that, but that was the whole point of taking away their favorite characters and turning them into that. And speaking of which, Ivory being in the Royal Rumble, I think last year, right? Or the year before, that was really good to see. She definitely deserves that. So my favorite moment, he asked, I'm sorry, Ollie, I'm not good at multitasking. I'm done with the BWO pictures. My favorite moment, believe it or not, usually wrestlers' favorite moments are when they're pinning somebody or doing something to someone else. But my favorite moment was actually when everybody thought the Dudleys joined the right to censor and they ended up duping us and putting me through the table. So that was my all-time favorite moment because we had so much heat. and they thought we got 2 more guys in the group. And I can't describe the reaction of the fans that night on the SmackDown taping of how much they wanted to see me go through that table and how happy they were. So that was my favorite moment.
Did you get much input then from other members of the Right to Censor, obviously, like, Venus, Goodfather? Did they all kind of chip in with ideas of how to?
No, not really. I do. Those 2 were not happy about being in the group from what I hear. They never verbalized it to me. They didn't seem to be happy. I think they both verbalized it in interviews. I'm not one for watching shoot interviews. I like cat videos better, but that's their prerogative. And you know what? Guess what? If I was a top babyface in the company and I was making boatloads of money on merchandise based on my babyface character, and they wanted to strip most of that away from me, I wouldn't be happy either. Because the Right to Censor shirts literally sold 1 shirt to where my quarterly royalty, look at this guy right here, my quarterly royalty, I owed the company money because we were that hated that nobody wanted to buy our shirt. And I pitched, there should be an anti-Right to Censor shirt. It will sell. And they went with a pro-Right to Censor shirt and never sold. Maybe a family member of mine bought the one. I don't know.
Maybe.
Did you want me to start signing these now, Chris?
Yeah, Dan, you're going to have to go through these ones if you can, please.
Yeah. So on that one, this one's for Ollie. He just wants the Right to Censor and then the Stevie Richards.
Okay. So Ollie is Ollie, correct?
No, so no name on this one. It's just the Right to Censor.
Oh, okay.
Stevie Richards.
Sure. Let me get the black out for that because it has the
no worries.
Blue background. God, we should have picked a name with less letters and words.
I think you get away.
Just so you guys know, this is the way I sign. It's just people like the thing. So I don't put Stevie Richards. I just put that and then put the censored thing. So, and it's usually in red. So if we ever do this again, which hopefully we will, that would be a good thing to have a red marker because the Right to Censor ones, people usually really do like the red marker better.
Fair one. Dan, if you can just look on the Facebook group page, and there is a list of the people that have this print. And then just call out the names. I know exactly what everyone wants, so I can work it from there. My internet's just gone completely down on my side, so I'm looking at a screen that had all the names of who's bought something. It's just gone off.
On the group page, you say, Chris? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We'll do another question. This from Anthony Militic. Had the cat not gotten fired, was there any plans for her to be in the Right to Censor?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that whole thing went down in Tucson, Arizona, like right after we won the match and she was a part of the deal. I would assume that it would have been the old Memphis thing of Lawler trying to win her back.
Yeah.
That's my guess. That it would have at least gone to the next pay-per-view and then we would have had the rematch. And but I have no idea. Like, I just know I showed up at Tucson, Arizona that day and they were both gone. That was it.
Mad, isn't it? It's probably a good
right.
thing.
Sorry, Chris, go.
I was saying, it's probably a good thing that it didn't continue if they already had the idea of leaving the company. Then
no, I think there was a sudden thing, Chris. That was just some sudden thing. I don't know if, dude, I don't know. That's why I probably stayed so long there and in the wrestling business. Whenever drama was that way, I went that way. Yeah. I didn't. Sometimes I got caught up in it just because I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go away from it, but I would never. I don't get off on that stuff. I want to be.
No.
As a matter of fact, my wife and I were just looking at land in an off-grid cabin. That's how much I want to be removed from any kind of drama. Yeah.
Wow.
So you'll see me with a beard like yours in about a year, Chris.
Well, it takes a fair while, Steve. I tell you.
You got the little Mennonite deal going right there. Yeah, a little Amish Amish deal. I just need the hat and I'll be good.
I'm not Amish. I'm not Amish.
I know you're not Amish. I'm just,
There's a connection here, you know. It's just the lighting.
some Amish have the deal there too.
I'm not. There's nothing about Amish involved.
Is there any Amish over there in England? Is there any of them?
There might be, but I'm not part of it.
Good. Well, I will be. So just so you know, for all of
there
us.
you go. You better have the curly sideburns and everything.
Oh, isn't that something else? I think that's Hasidic Jew.
No, there's some Amish.
All right. I don't think people care about anything what we're talking about right now. Let's get back to wrestling.
That's fine.
So the next one is for Kurt, Chris.
Is that so to Kurt, and he would like right to censor and your signature. That's KURT.
KURT. So this one, I'm going to put his name on there.
120%.
All right, there's the one for Kurt right there. Cool. There you go.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And the next one.
The next one is for Curtis.
And that's KURTIS.
KURTIS. Well, that's first. All right, so this is also, I'm going to write to Curtis. KURTIS. Okay.
Yeah, and he would like right to censor and then your autograph, please.
And these kids, these must not be young people because they would do RTC LOL, the shorter version, but they want the full deal.
They're younger guys, but they like the old school instead of the abbreviation.
It's okay. Probably smart. Who knows what RTC will stand for 10 years from now, and we'll all get into trouble.
Exactly. We don't have to come back and try and find you in a cabin in the woods somewhere.
And then Chris, the next one is for Jess.
Okay, so she would like to Jess, follow your dreams and then your autograph.
Jess is JESS, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. You should follow your dreams, Jess. Definitely.
And then the remaining ones, there's no more, is there? No.
That's it on those ones.
That's it on those. So the rest of them are just RTC and your autograph.
Well, I get to use the abbreviation. Awesome. Okay. Just finish these up right here.
Easy.
Okay.
Again, guys, if you've got any if you've got any questions, please put them down in the comment box below.
How was the reception on the announcement of the signing? Pretty good.
Good. It's not you're not a common guy that does this, so to get you. To Will.
That trend will continue, Chris. No offense.
No.
I'm very.
It's fantastic.
Believe it or not, two things I am, and people always laugh when I say this. I'm going to put this back in the jacket. I'm terrified to fly, and I hate large crowds. So I picked the wrong business to be in. Absolute wrong business.
Absolutely.
Well, that's how much I do. That's how much I do love wrestling and performing, and all throughout the years. That's why I started the Wrestling Analysis channel, because it just doesn't. It's not easy to do. There's so much nuance and detail to doing this, and I've had it in my mind and my heart for so many years to be able to do it, just like John Madden did with the NFL, with drawing on there and breaking down plays. But the technology wasn't ready, and I wasn't quite sure of how the workflow would go. So when this opportunity came about, we're literally at almost 84,000 subscribers in less than 3 months. So there's definitely a thirst for fans to believe again. It is credible. Bret Hart, the little stuff that Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, Ric Flair, tons of people, the underrated guys. Even Barry Horowitz that I featured. Barry Horowitz would be an upper mid-card main eventer today because he's just that good. There's guys back then but it was such a, especially in my case, a land of giants. So me at the time, 6'2", 6'3", 225 to 230 or 235, I was too small to be Intercontinental Champion. So that's how crazy that time was.
That's mad, isn't it? Well, I mean, the last time I saw you, we were on a show together in Germany for Deutsche Wrestling Alliance, and it was the Legends tour.
That's when I had my hair cut. I wasn't in shape. That's Ron Bass. Ron Bass was there. I got to know him, the fellow Star Trek fan and cat lover. So I like Germany. It was really, really cool. And I wrestled Tarkin. I can't pronounce. Yeah, he's a good kid, and he's a good kid. I follow him on Facebook. Yeah. So I remember all those guys.
Yeah. There you go. Right, Dan, we're going to go on to another question, please, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah. So this one's from Adam. So how were you told about ECW One Night Stand, and what was the backstage atmosphere like when you guys got there, and guys that you'd not seen in about 5 years?
Well, I knew it was going to happen through Dreamer and Shane McMahon, and the vision was really what you saw that night at One Night Stand. ECW is going to be relaunched as an authentic ECW brand. It was going to look just like it did in the ECW days. It was going to be the same. We were probably going to do the arena. We were probably going to do small buildings. The TV was going to look just like it did. Well, just like the pay-per-view looked at Hammerstein. It was about as authentic of an ECW experience as you could get. But then the WWE creative got into there. It was literally going to be Dreamer. I think there was going to be a few older ECW guys as agents. Shane was going to run it to a certain point, and then it just all got jumbled up, and then it became literally like Heat, Velocity, or one of those secondary shows. Yeah. So that's, the atmosphere was great that night, but Dreamer and I had been with WWE, so our antennas were already up that, they're saying all this, and it looks great tonight, but they eventually sink their claws, and they did. And we wished we were wrong, but it's just a pattern they have. And they owned the brand. They owned everything about it. ECW, the Rise and Fall of the ECW DVD was either in the top 1 or the top 3 to 5 for like multiple years after it was released. So they were smart. That was the ECW, from what I understand from Joey Styles, ECW, for the money they invested, out of all 3 brands, talking about Raw, SmackDown, and then ECW, it was the most profitable brand because it took no overhead to really run. They already had a cash flow from the DVD, and it was a success business-wise and creative-wise. If it was just a vehicle to get CM Punk over, then it was a success as well. Yeah, I was probably a major part of that since I wrestled him every week for like a year.
What was he like to wrestle? Out of curiosity.
Oh, easy. A lot of fun to wrestle. The stories you hear about Punk or whatever, he was always easy to deal with and never had a problem with him. And I can understand when you get into a certain place in your career, but I just wanted to go out there, have a good match, understood my place at the time. And that's probably why I get along, because I don't have a huge ego and I don't butt heads usually with people. I mean, I get my stuff. I get the ideas I want to get across creatively, but it's very, very subtle. Yeah. I don't believe in all this all day. It doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah. No, fair play. Good question, Adam. Well done there, man.
Yeah, very good question. Did you want me to start signing the TNA ones where I look very unhappy? Like I said, this is my TNA paycheck face right here.
Where's the money?
I was there, just didn't have a lot of zeros or anything. So just sign this Stevie Richards.
So done.
This one is, so Ollie's got one of these as well. So you'd like Dr. Stevie, professional therapist, Stevie Richards.
Professional therapist. Okay. Should I do this one in black or blue? We got 2 blacks. So let me do black for this one so we don't run out of the blue.
Go for it.
Do I make this out, Dolly, or just signing?
Just signing, please.
Okay, just want to make sure. if I had any kind of forethought, I would have picked gimmicks where it was just like janitor or something with less letters on it, you know? And does he want Dr. Stevie Richards or?
Yeah, so he's put on here. So it's Dr. Stevie, professional therapist, Stevie Richards.
This is the way I have it right there.
Wicked.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, cool.
And I believe the remainder ones that everyone wants is just Dr. Stevie Richards on it.
Okay.
Is that right, Dan?
That's right, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no
problem.
personalizations, just Dr. Stevie Richards.
By the way, what the silly part about that is, like, I just did it because I wanted to look different, but nobody ever really called me out on the fact that they're psychologists or therapists. They don't wear scrubs. So I wore scrubs to the ring. I just wanted to look different, and scrubs were really cheap, and getting embroidered was not a lot of money. It was less money than buying ring gear. So I could buy green, black, blue, and then for the match with Abyss where I bled, I wore the white one, which was a nod to the Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express street fight, where the Midnight Express wore white tuxedos. Remember that?
Yes.
So,
what was it like doing that gimmick in TNA?
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was so much fun.
I was going to say, you seem to have a lot of fun doing the character and doing the gimmick. Was there any time where you thought, was there any progression from Dr. Stevie, or
was there a question about the Dr. Stevie character?
Yeah.
Like, did I doubt it? No, I pitched it. I pitched it while I was still in WWE. I knew I was going to get released. I pitched it to Terry Taylor, Jeff Jarrett, Vince Russo, anybody who would listen, reached out to Abyss because I kept mentioning a therapist, and I just kept saying, that's me. And then when I went in there, they were going to put me right on TV doing something. And then Vince Russo gave me 6 to 8 weeks of vignettes where you never saw my face. And I never wanted to go back to being Stevie Richards. That was the only disappointing part, was the character had so much more life left in it. Not life like I'm going to win championships and I'm going to be a big star. That heel had so much potential to get other baby faces over after Abyss. Talking about Kurt Angle, talking about whoever's a baby face, Motor City Machine Guns. I worked at AJ, all these different people, but they pulled that trigger on the flavor of the month, the EV2 stuff, and I was opposed to it. I wanted to be Dr. Stevie and completely ignore my past, to the point where these guys are trying to make me remember that I'm Stevie Richards. And I'm like, no, I've been a therapist for 10 years. What are you talking about?
Would have that been the evolve of the character then, where you coincidentally forget about your past and the story would have led from there? Is that what you're saying?
Well, at the time I did legitimately want to forget about my past, because WWE just jobbed me out to no end for years. So if I acknowledged that even on TV in any way, and it kind of did that. I remember fans and stuff didn't know that Dr. Stevie was Stevie Richards. Like, they just didn't know. They didn't connect it after a while because I was so immersed in the character. But then when the EV2 came around, I'm like, oh, that's the guy that lost all the matches in W. So it almost hurt the group to do that. So they just had a knee-jerk reaction to, remember Dixie Carter every month with "this is going to change the face of wrestling forever"?
Yeah.
We got caught up in that crap storm of every month something's changing the face of wrestling forever.
Yeah.
If everything is changing the face of wrestling, then nothing is changing the face of wrestling. We tried to explain that to her.
Yeah. I guess. Right, Dan, we'll do another question, please, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we have one from Stu. So do you have a favorite figure of yourself?
Let me see here. This one is my favorite figure. I think my wife is still in the room watching, making sure I don't say anything stupid, which is probably going to happen. This is my favorite one because my friend Pete, he was joking. He was all laughing because Dreamer and I used to leave the building during the opening pyro of pay-per-views and stuff. So the pyro was the diversion so we could leave and get to the next town. And I always told him I just bring my duffel bag and I just get the hell out of there. So Pete from Jack's Pacific made an action figure where a duffel bag is my accessory. So that's my favorite one.
Fair play.
So I got the group stuff here. Is this the next one you guys wanted? This is photo
we'll do that
4.
One. We'll do that one, yeah. Do you want to do Ollie's first, Dan?
I can answer that question. I just saw it pop up for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
so I'll pop the question there. So here's a tricky one. Who was your favorite person to work with during your entire career?
That's a tough question because there's more than one, which is a good problem to have. Val Venus is right up there. We've had some good, what I would dare say, because of his style, with strong style, like all Japan style wrestling. It was a good test for me physically to see if I'm tough enough to endure that style. Dreamer, he was always my favorite. Who else? I liked working Maven. Maven, big plug to Maven's YouTube channel. Really, just crushing it on everything. But Maven at that time on Heat was a great opponent. Spike Dudley, the ECW guys, all the ECW guys generally had great chemistry, and it was really good. And here's a name that's probably going to shock a lot of people. I only worked him a handful of times, but Kevin Nash. Okay. Kevin Nash was so easy to work, so easy in the ring. And obviously, with like joking earlier about the NWO, BWO, there's still a little bit of story involved with that where people's interest would be piqued because if you remember that, you're like, oh, let's see what happens. So at least there's something to it. And when a guy, I say it over and over again, if a guy's 7 foot, 300 pounds, I put Kane into this, I put Mark Henry, when he learned how to really work, a lot of bigger guys, Big Show is definitely one that could crush you, that could hurt you, and use the excuse that they're that big, but don't. Then there's no excuse for somebody my size to be stiff with anybody. So that's what I chalk up to a big guy that's a really good worker. The big guys are the best workers because they should hurt people, but they don't. Yeah. And that's really cool.
Was there anyone that you wrestled who you thought was severely, I mean, obviously you mentioned Barry Horowitz was underrated, but was there anyone that you got in the ring and thought, wow, you're actually way better than where you're at the moment? Like anyone that was like, you thought was massively underrated that should have done something more?
I would, I've been in the ring on his side, never wrestled him. Bull Buchanan. Bull Buchanan had everything to be a top guy in that company, and they just never did anything with him. I don't get that. And the office liked him. So it was just a weird thing. I think Val was underrated. I think Val could have been a world champion at one time. He had that much momentum if he was framed up the right way. Yeah. Ton of people. I mean, there's a lot of indie guys like Anthony Green. You have the one picture of me from a match with Anthony Green. He's really underrated. NXT didn't do anything with him. So those are the guys. Johnny Swinger, good friend of mine for multiple years, severely underrated. From what I understand, he did have the hottest selling T-shirt in Impact, but they weren't pushing him like it. So it's just stuff like that he's a guy that never got pushed to his potential, and now it's a little too late because wrestling's the business where when you get more experience and you get better, the promoters want to pay you less. The promoters, it's such a weird thing. As you really get more experience, it's the only job where they try to cut your pay. Excuse me, as you get older and wiser to everything.
Yeah. Right. On that picture there, everyone that's bought this picture would just like you to sign either on your chest and just put RTC. So
all right, so RTC, then Stevie with the Censor sign.
Yes, please, if that's okay.
And would black or gold be better?
Black would be fine because we're going to try and get each individual member of the Right Censor to do that. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but that's the idea.
Yeah. If you think I'm tough to get in touch with, Bull lives in the woods, and I think Ivory's on an island off the west coast of the States.
Excellent. So to everyone who asked the question about getting the full group
what's that?
signing, Stevie's just said that.
What's that?
I'm saying everyone that wanted the group picture signed by everyone. That kind of just shut them down now, saying no.
No, you can.
Know.
Hey,
you never know.
listen. You found me, so that's. I'm like I said, I'm not.
Coup for us.
Nah, it's not a big deal. No, I don't mean any ill will by that, but I'm a pretty private person, and I like just doing my simple stuff, getting up with my wife 3:30 in the morning, going to work out, going to bed by 6:30, 7 o'clock, just getting ready for my off-grid farmer life. That's what I'm doing, early hours.
Yeah.
There we
Fair
go.
Play. The life.
Let me see. I was going to say something about here's a little fact. I've been talking about it on some interviews. I think the way the right to censor could have been even better than it was if you made her the leader back then, Ivory. If she was,
Really?
we swapped and she was the leader back then, a woman bossing a bunch of guys around, and the woman being the original Karen, that would have been really good. It was only around, believe it or not, it was only around for like a year. It feels like longer, right? It was like a year.
Was that ever pitched to, powers above that Ivory should be the leader?
I think that they wanted Val to be the leader. That's why he was wearing all white at one point.
Right. Okay.
There's something about me, dude, and it's a good thing. And I don't know if you guys ever feel this way. I just never felt like I fit in, even in 10 years in WWE, 31 years in wrestling, almost full time. Never felt like I fit in. I always but that also made me stand out and always made me think differently than most of the guys and girls too.
I want to politely disagree. I think you stood out way more than a lot of people. I'm not going to kiss your ass, but from when I watched wrestling, you were a prominent figure, and obviously as your career evolved, a lot of people in England are massive on you, massive. So when we announced that we had you, it was quite a big thing to have you live.
I appreciate that. I didn't mean it like I didn't. I think what you're saying, I agree with. That I did make a mark and an impact. If I did, nobody would want my autograph right now. So I do. I'm very grateful for my career. What I mean is that I never fit into the locker room. I never fit into the scope of just the thing, especially outside activities. I went back to my room, played video games. I never did any of that. So when they talk about all these kids playing video games, I was way ahead of you. I was breaking in luxury suites during the show and playing video games. So
what's the arcade system you've got in the back on your far left?
This is Retromania Wrestling from Retrosoft Studios. That's the cabinet that I arcade. They're no longer around. They made that cabinet. And excellent. If you guys are fans of, remember WrestleFest?
Yeah.
It's a direct sequel to WrestleFest.
I've actually got the game on my PS5.
It's a good game. I mean, I'm frustrated.
It's a very good game.
I'm not very good at it, but it's fine it mimics my career. I lose all the time, but it is an excellent game. And there are that, like, I'm a big Fire Pro Wrestling fan. Fire Pro Wrestling is probably one of the greatest games out there, if not the greatest game that you could play out there. And you got a PS5, so Dan, you can change the ring apron. We had Vince McMahon on the ring apron and the mat and everything with, all that crazy stuff. And, I actually have videos up on my fitness channel when it was a tech channel. And I play, or I do things like that, or recreate the matches. I just have fun with it. But WrestleFest is awesome too. But Retromania is right up there with Fire Pro and other games, but more of the, how would I say that? Well, Dan, it's a little bit more of a button mashing rather than timing, like No Mercy or Revenge, but it's still fun, and you can whip people into the corners and stuff too, which you can't do with a lot of other games that are the old school 8-bit type. It's a lot of fun.
So that kind of leads into a question I've got here then. So what made you pop more, yourself in a video game or seeing yourself as an action figure?
The checks that came after that. But yeah, I mean, those were good. I'm serious about that. But in all seriousness, I've said it on many interviews, and I'll say it here. The way most people think, and it's great. I've been to WrestleManias, I've been involved, and it's been great. I've never had an actual match, which is something that I wish I could have had to legitimately perform in the ring there. But the closest thing for me to being immortalized and leaving a legacy is these things and the video games. And I play video games, so it's cool to be able to have that, and I actually use it and play different games on it. But even if I wasn't a gamer, somebody, these things, for example, just to make the initial cast or whatever they call it, the prototype stuff and everything, back then it was between $13,000 to $20,000 per person.
Jeez.
So if a company is willing to put those resources and make this for you,
Yeah.
what better like pat on the back do you need? That's pretty cool. Even that, like scanning or in Retromania, they drew all that stuff by hand. That's hand-drawn artwork, like thousands and thousands of pieces of artwork put together in animation with millions of lines of code. And one thing they did for that too, if you played the game, Dan, they put my fitness brand as the training facility in story mode.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for, man? I mean, that's beyond being grateful. That's being blessed to have that. People think that putting you to that degree in a game isn't gonna hurt sales. I don't know if it helped it, but I liked it.
That's cool.
I've had a pretty amazing life, and hopefully I'll have more chapters ahead of me, and this year's proven more than anything that life is very precious and it can be taken away from you in an instant. It was taken away from me in an instant for many months. So I'm very thankful to be sitting here with you guys and talking to the fans.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to have you. Big Dan, we're going to do the next picture, which I believe is, that's the one. So if you want to just do Ollie's first, and then we'll go through the others.
I'll grab the fresh black marker. I think that would probably be good here instead of the blue.
Good.
Okay.
So on the first one, can we have BWO for life, Stevie Richards?
Oh, good. I can put the 4 instead of FOR now. They don't want big Stevie Cole. They want Stevie Richards.
They want Stevie Richards.
I'm just saying, man. Oh, that's much easier, right? And there you go. Right there.
So the next one, Chris, is for Ollie.
Ollie, thank you so much for spending all this money. I'm very humbled by it. Thank you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We've just had Ollie. Sorry. So the next one is for Steve.
All right, screw you, Ollie. Sorry. I take it back.
Ollie was the BWO for life one, though, so Ollie has the one.
I appreciate you, Ollie. I'm just kidding. All right, what's the next one?
Stephen, Chris.
For who, sorry?
For Stephen.
How do you spell it?
So that's STEPHEN.
See?
Cool. So that'll be just the autograph. I've almost caught up. My internet is about to catch up.
There you go, Stephen, right there.
Awesome.
Lovely. Okay. Then the next one is for Adam.
Adam, and he wants it to Adam as well, right?
To Adam, yeah.
Okay. ADAM. I know we got to
yes.
ask. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Stevie Richards as well. All these are Stevie Richards?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, all these are Stevie Richards.
Just checking.
The ones that Dan called out, and then I'll...
Okay. Cool.
And then the next one is to Nick, so that's NIC.
Mm-hmm.
And then just Stevie Richards.
He will have Big Stevie Cool, I think.
All right, okay. Big Stevie.
All right, here, I already signed this, but...
That's fine.
No, that's okay.
Fine. Nick has got one of the biggest ECW autograph collections in the UK.
Here, he got both.
There you go. We're charging both. We're charging for both.
Nah, two signatures is fine. Hey, by the way, this match is on YouTube. I highly recommend people go watch it. I always wanted to do, you got the 3 phases of Foley. I always wanted to do multiple characters within one match, but logistically, it could be a nightmare. You got literally 60 seconds to change. But fortunately, I wore the BWO outfit for this underneath the right to censor outfit with my hair back. And I came out and I tried to shut the show down. And then Anthony Green handed me a Snickers. I ate the Snickers and I said, what the hell am I doing? What am I saying? And hold on a second, I'll be right back. I ran back, hit the BWO music, and I came out and we had our match. So it was like one of my favorite moments. And Anthony Green, by the way, I'm glad he didn't do this before we wrestled. He waited until afterwards. He showed me a picture that he took with me when he was a little kid, and he showed up and there was like an appearance in the WWE locker room, brought a bunch of kids in and we took pictures and signed autographs. He had a picture with me from like 2001, 2002, maybe 03. But we took a picture of us together after the match with holding up the picture, the Polaroid from that day. Very, very, right here, very special moment.
Yeah, full circle
cool.
moment.
So if you're a wrestler out there, be nice to everybody, be accommodating, be disarming, answer questions. Do not laugh or kind of crap on anybody's dream of being like that girl. Follow your dreams. You should. Do not do that, because you could make or break. I remember Anthony saying, you were very kind and told me, if you want to be a wrestler, do it, man. I did it. And, I was a skinny kid from Philadelphia. If I can do it, you can do it. And look what happened. Kid has a great career ahead of him.
I was going to say on that, whenever I've done podcasts for people, everyone's always said, who's the nicest pro wrestler you've ever met? And I've always said you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
When I met you in Germany. And no ego, no thinking they were better than anyone else. Just,
That's what destroyed my career.
Just But no, it was humbling to see someone in your position still be humble and not, because obviously, myself and Dan have been in locker rooms with guys that have been on TV and they still think they're there and they're not. They're on the indies. But when I met you, you were it was just nice to talk to someone normally. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm around crazy wrestlers. Of course, it's going to be nice to talk to somebody normal. The thing too is, guys, Dan and Chris, I've been through every rung of the ladder in wrestling. I've been at the top of some companies. I've been at the top and the bottom in WWE, top, bottom, and somewhere in the middle. I've been at the top at TNA for a short time, and then down at the bottom. I've seen the roller coaster ride. And no, it's a very subjective business.
Yeah.
So why? And anything they did to Stevie Richards was to the character, not the real person. So why am I going to take that out on a fan? I had to mature, and it took years, but I always remembered I never liked being treated bad. So I always had that in me to try at least to not. And I probably failed a few times. So if I did, I apologize to anybody and reach out to me, and I'll apologize via email or whatever, but I do feel bad if I ever did even ignore anybody or walk by them in the airport or whatever, because everybody's going through something. Maybe just a 3-minute interaction with me would keep somebody from going further down into a depression or something bad. So I'm very aware of that.
No, that's cool. Guys, we've got about 5 minutes left.
You want me to keep signing these just regular Stevie Richards?
I think the rest just want Big Stevie Cool on that. Dan, is that right?
Yes, that's it.
Cool.
So the rest of these just Big Stevie Cool?
Big Stevie Cool, please, on the rest of them. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
No problem.
So, guys, we've got about 5 minutes left. If you want to ask any questions, John Morley, there are some photos left. If you want to get one now that's being signed by Stevie, as Big Stevie Cool, we can add you to it. Just say yay or nay while that picture is out.
So while doing that, so I've got another question then. So would you be up for making an appearance in the Rumble as a surprise entrance?
Well, I don't know if my wife nor my spine will allow that right now. Just to give you a little bit of backstory. And who asked that question? I'm sorry, I didn't see the name.
So that was Kurt.
Kurt. Well, Kurt, that's another pay-per-view that I've actually, believe it or not, have never been in a Royal Rumble. Never.
Really?
Nope. The right to censor was in there, but I was never part of the Royal Rumble as an entrant. So, but the problem is right now there's two problems. Number one, I want to look the same when I go out there. I want to be in shape. And that's kind of a 1A, 1B. 1A is that. 1B is the fact that I went through that deadly spine infection and nearly killed me. And it ate away a part of my vertebrae, L2, L3, and L4, L5. So right now I'm in a natural fusion process with my back. And if you know anybody that's ever had back surgery, it takes 12 to 18 months post-surgery to really heal. So I'm lucky to not have the surgery or not have to have the surgery. But my fusion time is minimal 1 year, if not 18 months. So people have asked about WrestleMania and all that stuff and everything. I don't know, man. I love doing this, the beauty of technology, except for the fact I fell in love with Germany for the first time I was there, Chris. So when you saw me there, I don't like to travel. I don't like to go anywhere, but Germany was amazing. And I actually want to bring my wife over there for what city is it that has the Christmas town?
Well, there's a few of them. So there'll be.
Well, we're going to go to all of them.
Frankfurt. Frankfurt's the main one. Frankfurt Christmas Market is the biggest one.
Okay. Yeah, but my wife she's a big Christmas fan. So I told her eventually, if the world ever calms down, I'll take her to Germany and we'll go to Christmas Town. Maybe we'll wrestle for a local promotion or something. Not me, not her, me. I have to pay for the Christmas stuff. But to answer your question, I just want to answer Kurt's question and finish up. I think it would be great. What I think would be awesome, I want to be the locker room winner of a battle royal. You guys may be familiar with that. If Kurt is not familiar, the winner of any battle royal in the locker room is the one that's eliminated first and the fastest. And if I could put my bag right at the ramp and just leave, literally have accounting there to hand me the check, which hopefully has a lot of zeros, and I just leave and go back home because it's in Tampa. I live in Florida. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I was going to say, if your wife is into Christmas, there is a place in Germany called Heidelberg, and it has the biggest Christmas shop, and it's 5 stories high, and it is full to the brim of anything Christmas that you can imagine.
I think we saw that on a YouTube video. We watched some Germany stuff recently, and it's just funny. I mean, we're trying to be minimalist too. We're not trying to get a ton of like everything, but I would love to get her some authentic German Christmas stuff for Christmas. So I might have to see if they ship from Germany to America. That would be pretty cool.
Should we speak to
Ralph? I'm going to look at the comments here. I'm going to look too. What was the feedback from the wrestling world been like on your awesome analysis videos? Thank you for doing that. I thought it was John Moxley. Hey, Moxley's fine. I don't want any trouble.
If you imagine the opposite of John Moxley, that's John Morley.
John Morley. John Morley is very happy that I tried to protect him from two Tombstone pile drivers. But you know what? I mostly everybody, because I don't do anything to really expose the business, although I do speak in terms of psychology and other stuff. If I feel like what I do is really show how difficult and credible of a craft and art that wrestling is. That's why I like guys like Bret Hart, Ric Flair. There's going to be Mr. Perfect up there. I like looking at different styles. And it kind of vindicates me in a way that I didn't waste my time, because I was a big football fan, NFL fan, American football. I'm sorry. I just want to get it right for people that are international. But I was always a big fan, and I always felt like I needed film study in wrestling. I felt like that was a big part of it back then, which nobody did that. So I did film study. I legitimately scouted people that would work, because when they were like talking about, hey, what do you want to do? And I was like, hey, this is I was watching this match that you did with this. And it was really cool. It was always pitching moves that they would do to me. So who's gonna disagree to that? Like, no, I don't want to do my moves, right? So, you know, it lent to me getting credibility in the locker room because they're like, he knows everything about what everybody else does. And that's why I had the spot I had in wrestling, because I legitimately knew every style and learned how to work with everyone else's style. Brad Armstrong was like that. Barry Horowitz, who else? Swinger, to a degree, was really good like that in his younger years. There's a lot of guys that can work anybody. And that's a little secret too. Most of the guys that always put other people over, and I'm not including myself because I don't consider myself in this league, were always the best workers. Brad Armstrong was one of the greatest workers in history. And people be like, how could you say that? Well, because no matter who Brad worked, you always know the other guy would look like $1 million and it would be a solid, good, entertaining match. Athletic or intense or any of that other stuff. I think Paul Orndorff was like that too. Orndorff could work when he was in WCW, especially in his later years of the Mr. Wonderful with the mirror, with the song, with the what was the guy with the big wig? He reinvented himself to be entertaining, but he worked a load of younger guys like Alex Wright and these other guys, and he could work their style. That's not easy to do, to surrender yourself to be like, I know what I can do, but let me see how I can fit it into what everyone else does. And that was what I was like really proud of doing.
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. Guys, we're going to have to wrap up in a second. Stevie, if you would like to promote anything that you're currently doing, like your channels and stuff, please do.
Sure. Well, the person just asked that question. I have Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis. The lower third is at Stevie Richards Wrestling on YouTube. Please check it out. We're heading towards 84,000 subscribers. We just put the Bret Hart chest turnbuckle bump breakdown and analysis. Also, as we're recording this, it's Thursday. Tomorrow, the basic pro wrestling moves explained video continues. We have a playlist that explains basic moves. We're going to talk about the headlock. And speaking about Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, part of that whole video that's so exciting to break down is possibly one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. SummerSlam 1991 with Hart and Mr. Perfect can't be matched. Pacing, athleticism, psychology, intensity. Those are matches that I love watching. So other than that, we also have patreon.com/Stevie Richards. You can check that out. Exclusive content on there, help support and reinvest back in so I can buy big overpriced things like that board back there. And also you guys have the Pro Wrestling Tees store. We also have a Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis shirt in the Pro Wrestling Tees /Stevie Richards. I got that wrong. God, I'm so old. I might as well do WWW while I'm at it. You know where it's at. Just search Stevie Richards on ProWrestlingTees.com, and that is about it. Most importantly, I want to thank you guys for having me on the signing and each and every person here in the chat joining the stream. I really do appreciate you guys not forgetting about me and also paying money for a guy that's been out of the business for multiple years and still remembering me. I really do. I'm humbled by it and I'm appreciative of it.
No, thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight, Stevie.
Thank you.
It's an honor and a privilege to have you, so thank you. Big Dan, good job as always.
Thank you. Thank you, Stevie.
How did I do? Did I do okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you done fantastic.
Thank you.
Right,
Hey,
guys.
we'll do it. Maybe we could do it again in the future. This was fun.
Yeah, 100%. That'd be great. Thank you so much. Right, guys, we will see you all around about 8:15 for Beyond the Buckle podcast, and we'll see you there. Thanks again, Stevie. See you all soon.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.